Oh my God, if my painting falls, I am going to cry. Let's just pray. Hello and welcome everyone on this lovely Sunday evening. Thanks to everyone joining us live right now. On behalf of the Entertainment Network and Indian Society of Calgary, my name is Rohini Singh, and tonight we have two really special guests with us. A lot of you may have seen their names on read their reviews, read their interviews, heard their names, or just read about the exciting ways that Dampy, Brar, and Lali Toor of Apna Hockey have created a strong voice for the South Asian community and how they're helping revolutionize the game of hockey, not only in Canada, but also in India. So that's really, really exciting. Welcome, Dampy, Brar, and Lali Toor.
Thank you for having us.
Yep, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, we really appreciate it. I'd just like to briefly introduce you guys. We have Dampy Brar, who grew up in a small town in Starwood, BC. He's played almost a decade of professional hockey in the US in the International Hockey League, and he's also played 5 seasons with the Tacoma Sabercats in the West Hockey League. So that's really awesome. He's a captain and main organizer of Team India Ball Hockey Program, and he's a co-founder of Apna Hockey. We also have Lali Toor, who was born and raised in Edmonton, and his dad introduced him to hockey, and that's how he fell in love with the game. He played AAA hockey, and he holds an MBA from the UFA, and he is the founder of Apna Hockey. Welcome, both of you. Again, I know that you both have a lot to speak about, the love and reverence you both have for hockey. So I'm just gonna pass it over to you, Dampy. Let's just start off with you. How did you fall in love with the game of hockey? Dampy, I'm just gonna unmute you for a second.
Sure. You're good? All right.
Yes.
Well, as you mentioned, I grew up in a small town of Starwood, BC, and I was very fortunate that there was other Indian Punjabi hockey players before me that started playing hockey. So I think the oldest person was 5 to 6 years older, and that made it easier for my parents to put me in hockey because other parents have put their kids in hockey. And, especially back then, if one kid is doing something that is, sports-like or anything, the other families will follow suit. So like I said, I was very, very fortunate that there was a bunch of probably 5 to 6 to 7 Punjabi players that were playing hockey, starting hockey and so forth. So, and when I started playing, it was just, I would watch the older kids play road hockey and kind of emulate them in the basement. And as I got older, I got to play with them. And a lot of them were Punjabi players, right? Like meaning we had a lot of families in Starwood that were Punjabi and so forth. So the parents got along, and they needed some common people to get along with. And so it made it easy for me to kind of transfer into ice hockey, knowing that other players played. And then, I just played in the basement, played my first year, second year, and then my third year really took off and really excelled at the game. And when I fell in love with hockey, my parents fell in love with hockey, and our whole family did. Yeah. So that was a fun part. And from that to now, there's a lot of love of hockey in our family, and with my kids now growing up playing hockey, it's going to continue to grow for hopefully generations and generations.
Dampy, thank you so much for just touching that aspect of how the entire family has fallen in love with the game. And I think that's really important. We will talk more about that later on in the interview. Let's head over to Lali. How did you fall in love with the game, and what was your experience similar to Dampy's?
He's muted.
Yep. Unmuted now. Yes, I got introduced to the game because of my father, Baltej Singh Toor. So he immigrated from India in the early 80s to Edmonton. And once he got here, realized that, hockey is a pretty big thing in Canada, right? At the time in the 80s, the Oilers were winning cups, and Gretzky was, on the ice, Yari Curry, Messier. So he kind of fell in love with the game in the 80s. And when I was born in 1992, I had some cousins older than me that played hockey as well. So that had an influence, a big influence as well. But when when I was born, my dad 4 years later got me, a pair of skates. We went to like the local garage sale, right? And kind of just
Yeah.
got me on the ice, the outdoor rink, right? Not much to do in the winter times here in the prairies other than go out on the ice. But yeah, I just fell in love with the game that way, right? Like I'd have to say my dad's the biggest reason why I got into the game. But my upbringing was a little different than Damp's, right? Like I didn't really have like older kids that looked like me, or like people that from our community that was playing. It was just me playing AAA hockey, and when it got competitive, I think that's when I started realizing that I was being treated differently, right? Whether that be like blatant racism, or even like the worst kind, in my opinion, was the systemic one, because that's what really kind of drove me to start the whole Apna Hockey initiative, is that no kid should have to go through what I did growing up, right? Like I never had a role model, and I always tell Damps this every time. I'm like, I would have loved to have like a guy like Dampy to just talk to, right, throughout my career, and just like have that guidance, right, from someone that's played at a professional level like Damps. But that's the whole idea, right? There was no support, right? I didn't know my community a whole lot. I was the only brown kid playing AAA, in Alberta, in the prairies, and it wasn't easy navigating through that, right? So I felt really alone and isolated, right? And don't get me wrong, all my friends are from hockey, right? Like I mean, I know all the boys, right? So I met so many people through hockey, but I think I got hurt by hockey growing up, right? And the reason why I fell in love with the game was because of just the NHL, seeing the different players and just the excitement, dreaming one day for playing for the Oilers. That got me excited, right? Like that's why I fell in love with the game. And it's unfortunate that I had to go through what I had to do, and felt kind of the negatives, the ups and downs. But it took me a while, right? So I stopped playing competitive at the age of 19. I was trying out for the Grant McEwen Griffins here, like a college team. And after that, I kind of focused on academics, did my Bachelor of Science, and eventually gone to my MBA program at the U of A. And I wanted to create a system where kids from our community didn't have to go through what I did, right? And that way they would be supported with, people like me, people like Damps, right? There's so many players, Rohini, that are from our community that are playing at high levels, males and females, right? It's always important to highlight the female players, especially like, from on our platform, because girls from our community are not known for playing hockey, right? Like, I mean, and it's huge. Like when we showcase them and they're earning scholarships, like university scholarships, and it just lets our community know that, you can work hard in sport and academics, right? It doesn't have to be always academics, like very traditional, but I mean, you learn so much from the sport of hockey. But the biggest thing that we want to do with Apna Hockey is like, how can we ease the integration of, minorities into the game of hockey? Because I was not eased into the game of hockey, and I got hurt by it, right? So it's all about establishing that environment that's going to, be more welcoming.
And I love how you said, you also like shared why you were hurt from the game, and from that hurt you decided to help the community, and that's just so inspiring what Apna Hockey is doing. We're going to get more into what Apna Hockey is all about. Before we do that, Dampy and Lali, when did you guys form your partnership? And Dampy, did you face any, I guess, racial discrimination when you were playing pro hockey in the US and also in Canada?
Well, Lali, when was it when we first started this? Like we met up in 2017, was it?
2017. It was late July. I remember that day because I got an email from the U of A that I got accepted into the MBA program. So me and Damps actually, Damps called me, and then I was like, you know what, let's meet in the middle, because Damps is from Calgary, I'm from Edmonton. Let's meet in Red Deer. And I remember like just driving down to go see Damps. Like it was a pretty happy day for myself. Just I got into the school, right? And then, obviously meeting Damps, right? Like, and, who could have thought that it would have been the start of something like, I mean, this big now, right?
Exactly.
And it's all about connecting, right? Like, I mean, me and Damps connected. We sat down for 3-4 hours at the Earls in Red Deer, and we talked about, what I went through, what Damps went through, and we're like, you know what? We share similar stories, and it's crazy. Like I need a guy like Damps growing up. it was a good fit, right? I mean, me and Damps, you know, obviously there's an age gap, although Damps doesn't look like, he looks, you know, just
Totally not.
no.
Only when I started driving my car, Lali was born.
Yeah.
That's
So
You guys are destined to meet.
yeah, it was crazy how our
great alliance
paths kind of like, you know, intersected at that point, and it just made sense, right? Like, I mean, I think the age gap itself, like, I mean, I do, Damps does so much good work, you know, with kids and, you know, within the community. Whereas I think like my role in Apna Hockey has turned into like kind of the relationships, the business. Like, I mean, we'll talk more in depth about kind of the relationships we have with the NHL, local hockey teams, what we want to establish, right? But at the end of the day, like, I mean, that day that we met, it kind of just changed the trajectory of Apna Hockey, right? I mean, doing this all by yourself it's always hard to do stuff by yourself, right? You need to team up with the right partners. You need to team up with the right people. And one thing that me and Damps really share is we help our community relentlessly, right? We want to help anyone in hockey, right? Whether that be like, you know, a future like agent, a future broadcaster, a future player, future, you know, families that just want to get into the game, right? Anywhere we can help, we want to be able to support and, you know, help them, because I think without helping one another, it's really tough to get through the ins and outs, you know, the sport. So
of the sport.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lali. And Dampy?
Yeah. So your question was, did I face any racism when I played down south, right? And this is at the level that, you know, professionally, that you don't want to see it, you don't want to hear it. But my first year when I was playing in Tacoma, we're in the playoffs, and I heard the P word a few times during the game, and some of my teammates, one of them I'm still in contact with now in Calgary, and he heard it as well. And it wasn't something that I didn't want to blow up either. We were playing in the playoffs, and I didn't want it to be a focal point, because I think it's good to tackle that situation, and because that's, back then I was 21 years old. That was a while ago. That's like 24 years ago for me, and I just didn't want that to, like I said, to blow up, and for me to go through that. Now, if that same situation were to happen, it'd be on social media. You know, Dampy and Lali would be right there supporting the person that being discriminated against. So, but you know what? There was an apology, and the coaches kind of did a really good job of kind of not boiling it over. But the media did get a hold of it, and they tried to make it a bigger issue than it was. Like I said, looking back to it, that was the only time in my career playing professionally that there's racial discrimination was thrown at me, either from opposition or a team member. A lot of questions. I've always said I'll educate you where I'm from or where my parents are from, but I will not, like, you know, you do have questions that are loaded questions that teammates asked or whatever, and but it's how you answer it and how professional you are answering them, right? Even if you're in the dressing room or driving or something. And you gotta have fun with it. You gotta have fun where you gotta have fun where your parents grew up and your heritage, and as well, you can't be too sensitive. But when I was growing up, I definitely faced some racism, and definitely faced certain situations that if it were to happen now would be a bigger issue than before, right? And parents, I've heard parents call, and that's just towards me. And then obviously as we move forward, talking to different families, there's a lot of Punjabi, Apne, South Asian, East Indian families that their kids stop playing hockey, or they don't want their kids to play hockey, or didn't want their kids to play hockey because of the fact that the discrimination. And the thing is that a lot of people don't realize that the discrimination, racism doesn't start at the rink. It starts at home. And so the people that are creating this racist comments are learning it from somewhere, right? And we can't just turn the other way. So my dad, when he was working in the coal mines, he was facing racism. A lot of the East Indian gentlemen there, but they just couldn't stand up because they just didn't want to stand up and create a scene, which would get them to possibly get their job get terminated. So we're talking about hockey and kids, but our dads, and I know there's a bunch of dads. I think since this whole progression has happened, more and more of my dad's friends have spoken up and say, yeah, I've been called this, I've been told this. Actually, their kids have talked to me that now it becomes a conversation. Like Dampy's dad went through
it's a
this.
dialogue.
Yeah, it becomes a situation. So yeah, like and going back to hockey, yeah, and that's where a lot of times when Hockey Canada or another hockey organizations go, hey, how comes there's lack of registration in certain minorities not playing and all that? Why is this demographic not playing? Well, when before you sign on the dotted line to register your kids or send the money, and you already know that there's a chance of a very strong chance, right, Lali, of your kid be discriminated against, and not even to play on the top team, just being stigmatized or stereotyped. And that's where the new generation, like our generation, like all my kids have friends and they'll stand up to that. But even with our generation, there's been a lot of stories that have come across my time of comments and text messages and so forth, and then we can talk about Ethan Berra from the Edmonton Oilers.
Just recently, yeah.
So that's 2021. That's will it stop? That's where we're gonna that's where we come in, and we want to be able to help out whatever we can. So.
And thank you so much for sharing both of you sharing your experience and just racism really look like, in the game. I know if you search up Apna Hockey, and you'll find it in research studies and just unifying and everyone sticking together. That's really important. I'm really happy with what you guys shared. So thank you. Before we get more into Apna Hockey, we're just going to take a little break, and to all of you who are watching, please send in your questions. This is the time to ask Dampy and Lali your questions. So we'll take a short break.
Do you know the area of your house decides the school your child will go to? Do you know how to check the quality of a home? Will banks give you a mortgage? For all the answers, sign up with the Home Buyer Awareness Program and meet a school area specialist, a home quality inspector, and a financial advisor. Don't wait. Sign up with the Home Buyer Awareness Program in the link below, or contact Raj Popla at Remax Central today.
Welcome back. All right, so we talked a lot about, just Dampy and Lali's experience. How did Apna Hockey form? A lot of, discussion about racism that they've faced, and just in the game of hockey, and what's happening in the world today. We have a viewer with a great question. Thank you, Nikki Kaur. She asks, have you seen an increase in women signing up to play hockey, especially now that you have a female instructor? So obviously Nikki has been following Apna Hockey, and she knows that you have also female instructors on your guys' team.
Well, I think having Simran as a female instructor really propelled us forward in our program. But we've also highlighted at least 4 girls that are playing at university level hockey, which I've gone to before COVID, certain receptions, Mungane parties or engagement parties, and the uncles going up to me and on Instagram and going, because everything we put on Instagram, we do shoot it through Facebook and so forth. So the older generation looks at Facebook more.
Yes.
And he's like, oh, there's a Punjabi girl out of BC playing, and then so forth. So, and it really showed our community that university hockey is an accomplishment, and these girls are inspiring our girls that are younger to follow in the same footsteps. Like I was even wowed about all the females that are playing hockey, and then obviously there's like female teams in Surrey. They have a great program there. Jag Ball runs one of the teams and so forth, and involved in the organization. So has a female, I think it will increase because we haven't had the chance of doing any camps in Brampton or in the Toronto area. And I think with Simran's, I definitely think with Simran's influence, I think there's already parents that are probably thinking about putting their kids in hockey. So Simran's influence, the girls that are playing in university hockey, even the girls from India that came down as well, like, that inspires our Canadian families and North American families put our girls in hockey. And for me, I'm never shy about it, and never will I be. My daughter plays, and I love having her on the ice, and I'm a very supporting her in her hockey journey, and her and her brother love to play the game and so forth. So I think it's a combination of things. To answer that question, Nikki, is that with Simran and the girls and all these, there's hockey programs. I think even Tri-Cities of America, I think they sent us, I think, Lali, over a message of the girls playing hockey, and we've showcased that on Instagram. So when people see that, it doesn't matter what generation, they're loving it. And it doesn't even have to be the South Asians that respect it. I don't know how many times I've, the Caucasian hockey dads or parents have been like, wow, I did not realize how many South Asians or girls are playing hockey, right? So like I said,
and that comes with a lot of support, like as you've been saying, like what would be your guys' message to parents who are watching this show and parents who have children who are interested in hockey? Like, I know, Dampy, for you, like you played really well, and then your dad was like, yes, we'll support you. But like, what would you say to parents who are very, supportive of academic pursuits? What would you say to them to support their children no matter what route they want to go? Lali and Dampy both.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Lali, you can answer.
Okay, yeah. I think again, it's the awareness that we have to create, right? If our community doesn't know that there's girls playing university level hockey, earning scholarships, they're going to be less enticed to get their girls involved. But when you have role models, and when you're able to highlight these athletes and let our community know that there's more of us playing at high levels, and if you enroll your daughter in hockey, you have role models and you have people to look up to, and you can navigate and work hard at hockey and earn a scholarship, right? I mean, I know we're in the works right now with the NHL and some donations as well, but we're going to kick off some Apna Hockey scholarships, right, for male and female athletes from our community that say, for example, play the game of hockey. Maybe they just never achieved their goal and couldn't get a scholarship, but I think the time and money spent by the parents, I think it should be recognized, right? I mean, I'm myself, I never earned a scholarship, but I played at a high level, right? So I want Apna Hockey to have those scholarships where we can help out these kids in their post-secondary careers when they're pursuing that academics, and maybe they didn't earn a scholarship through hockey, but then we want to be there to support them as well, right? So at the end of the day, I think the biggest impact is by, I just kind of relate it back to myself when I played. When I played AAA, I was very invisible to our community. No one knew I played, AAA, or there was like a handful of South Asian kids in Western Canada to play AAA. I kind of was invisible. So the main thing we do with Apna Hockey is we make our athletes from our community visible, right?
Okay. And how would you do that?
Showcasing them, right? Showcasing them on social media. I think social media nowadays is probably the most powerful tool, right? Back in the day, when I was a kid, there wasn't social media, right? So it was a little different. I think nowadays, we have so many different tools to show our community, and we have broadcasting in Punjabi. We have different avenues where we can showcase these athletes, right? And even at after Damps won the NHL award, it's another, we've basically built a platform where we can speak out on stuff, right? Injustices, talk about the good, talk about the bad, right? So that's the most rewarding part, is that we built a platform where a community is informed.
Exactly. And that's awesome. Dampy, congratulations again for winning the award last year. Do you want to share what you felt, and how have you, you've been involved playing hockey, and you've also been coaching hockey. So can you just, share some more light on how have you really helped coach the kids from Apna Hockey and what you've been doing?
I think before even the award, you get into this line of work or volunteering or however you want to call it, because it's your mindset. And I think Lali had that mindset from the negative stuff that he went through, and you don't know that till you get older. And I was kind of thinking like what really prompted me to be kind of wanting to always be, helping out youth, because not only, like, a lot of people don't realize that not only have I coach hockey now, because once I have kids, I worked with physically, mentally, sexually abused kids for 2 years as a youth care counselor. I've also worked 4 years working with immigrant youth and doing after school programs and summer programs. So I've always kind of been in different parts, and those are like paid jobs, but those are real life situations. So you learn from all that. And then hockey comes in the picture because I played. I wanted both a son and daughter. That didn't matter who came first. So the award doesn't even kind of come in picture. Like once we started Apna Hockey, I don't think there was an accolade that we're looking after. It wasn't like we need to be popular, we need to be like this. We just, from meeting up in Red Deer, like I remember messaging Lali on social media, him calling me. I texted him. He called me right back because I knew some common people in Edmonton, and he was waiting to get in touch with me anyways. And it's just how our conversation went awesome in Red Deer. And then did we sit there and go, hey, there's an award, I think we both can win? There was none of that, right? So, and I'll say this, it's, my name's on the trophy, but I think when I say we won the trophy, Lali and I won the trophy, but I think our community is the reason why we won the trophy. Like, meaning we all won the trophy. Now we all have a voice, and we're just recipients of that. And I think, and I said that too, and I told my dad that too. I think we all want it. Like, this award.
This is our Apna.
Yeah, like it's like, and like 20, 30, 40 years from now, we're the first Punjabi South Asians to ever win an NHL award. Like, hopefully we get in 10 years an Rookie of the Year or some East Indian guy or a South Asian or a best goalie in the NHL, and he wins an award. But yeah, we were the first one to win the award. So when I become a grandfather and my grandkids don't listen to me, guess what I did, right? So
yeah,
that's the only leverage I'll have, right? But I'll even actually show you. It was just, so this is the award,
right there,
and there's three words on there that I think Lali and I can both all agree that it's that we live by, is like teamwork, courage, and perseverance. And I think from Lali going through his negative spiels in hockey, his perseverance to keep that mindset, and same with myself. And like the teamwork, we were, a lot of people, Punjabis will ask, "Oh, kyon hockey khedi?" I'm like, to be like the teamwork aspect, like that's the best part of hockey, is the like obviously male and female, but I can speak from the male side, is just a bunch of boys getting together in the dressing room, laughing and joking, and then all of a sudden a switch goes on, like to go play the game and play for each other, and then so many intangibles you learn and through the game of hockey. And a lot of people ask, like, "Padai theek hai just sports?" I'm like, both of them. Like, why limit one thing or the other? You got to merge both, and I think the parents are getting that, right? And the third word on there is the courage. And yeah, you got to be able to, like, Lali and I are not, like, when I say this, we weren't afraid to step up before, but now with the award under our belt, we've gotten some respect and some value to our names. And so, and we need to step up, and we are very calculated when we do things. We're not just, I think we talk once a week or twice a week, and we're always messaging each other. And I just messaged Lali earlier today, the U.S. World Champion team, and I screenshotted a shot, and there's a Sardar in the background, and he's either on the training staff. We're trying to find out, but it's really cool. Like, anytime we see any ethnics in hockey, especially Punjabi or South Asian, we're there I was just like so happy. Like, it's the U.S. team, and it was the post was about there's no diversity in this team, but then I look in the back and there's a gentleman. He's either a doctor or a trainer. Like, just that's how hockey teams are formed, right? They have dentists and doctors and trainers. So it's not even stereotyping that, but like, nice to see El Sadar in the background, right? And and with a pug on and everything. So you can tell he holds his his culture true to him. So like
And
I said,
hockey is a culture. You could say hockey is definitely a culture, and it's a tradition. It's what brings families together, like Dampy, your father and your wife and your kids, and and now the community, everyone's coming together as a family. So that's really beautiful to see. How you both have shown hockey, but also the life skills that you can learn from it as well.
I think those are very key, because not everybody's going to make it to the NHL. And I think just we treat our dressing rooms. I was head coach of my son's team like they're a room in their home. Like everything has to be clean. And Chris, I know I have OCD. If my wife was here, she'd be like, but it's not even that. It's just respect to the game. And if you go to, and Lali and I have been in dressing rooms, like I've been, I played pro for 7 years. Our dressing room was spick and span when you walked in. It's just a professional feel. Like I know I've been into NHL dressing rooms that are nicely organized, and it's not even being just the cleanliness. It's just you respect the equipment, you respect the game of hockey, and a lot of people think that sports is just rough and tough and barbaric, but there's a lot of professional side of the game that people don't sometimes realize, and that's where we come in and to kind of display that and so forth. So like I said, the award is a community award, right? We may have our ties to it, but we're very happy to win it on behalf of our community, and it was a voting system, so Lali's parents and families and mine and my in-laws and my parents, and from India to Australia to Morocco to Algeria,
worldwide
Europe,
family.
England, like just a family and friends, right? And the ball hockey teams that I played for and stuff and played against, and it was crazy the connections that I gained from just going to, not even winning it, just going to the process for that 5 days, right? And like I said, Lali's dad is well known in Edmonton, and he's used his connect to get the votes in. So like I said, this is a great, Lali and I are very proud and very appreciative that we can sit here today as recipient for the awards, but we really, really thank the public, not just the South Asian community, the whole community that supports us, and for us to get to where we got to.
Thank you, Dampy. Talking a lot about community and parents in general, we have a great question from Nikki. Do you have parents who come forward, who are worried about the racism that their kids could face, and what would you tell them? Like, how could they handle it, and what do you tell the children as well?
Well, you can start on this. Yeah, you're muted.
Oh, Lali, I'm just gonna unmute you.
There we go. Nikki, I think that's a great question. The funny thing is, like, I actually got a text message from my mom today, a direct message on Instagram about, it wasn't about hockey, it was about lacrosse, right? About the racism that her son is facing. So, I mean, we always get direct messages, and we always tell parents, I mean, if there's overt racism or any kind of discrimination, feel more than free to contact me or Damsk. I mean, that's the reason why we're here. That's the reason why we built this platform. Right, because like when parents sometimes talk about the racism that their kids feel, sometimes they're like, oh, maybe it's best not to say anything, right? But that's the problem. That's kind of what I went through. I mean, my dad, I know growing up, like he would be in the coaches' faces and stuff, but it wasn't productive. It didn't really help out. It was just him speaking out, right? But when you have Damps, myself, other athletes in our network that are speaking out on racism, or if we talk to different organizations, that makes a bigger impact, right? I mean, that just lets everybody else know that, no, it's not just the parent and the child going through these racial incidences. They got a whole organization that is dedicated to, help out wherever they can and kind of alleviate, this racial incidences that they're facing, right? So,
yes.
And we get calls from like parents from Toronto, Vancouver, hockey players. I mean, today was a lacrosse player, and that's the whole idea, right? We collaborate. I told the mom today, I was like, get a group of parents that feel very similar to you, because she's like, other parents, ethnic minorities have felt it in lacrosse as well. I was like, let's get a group together. We'll have a meeting with DAMS. From there, we'll make a game plan, and then we'll go talk to these organizations about what's happening, right? Because I mean, it's pretty evident in today's social climate, like with obviously the BLM movements down in the States, racial tension is at an all-time high, right? I mean, when we started this program 4 years ago, I knew it was always there. I felt it. Damps felt it. And it's just crazy to see in 4 years how bad the social climate got in the world about racism, right? So we built this to speak out. So I mean, at the end of the day, if parents are going through it, kids are going through it, do not hesitate, right? This is why Apna Hockey exists, is because of incidences that happen, in, I guess, fairly Caucasian dominated sports. We need to have that unity, right? So always reach out, right? Never stay silent, right? Because we have a voice now.
Thank you, Lali. Thank you for answering that question too, and I'm really happy that you're open and accepting to everybody, not only just in the game of hockey, but as you both mentioned, it's just for any types of issues as well. So that's really good. We will take a short break, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more about your role, Dampy, as coaching in Apna Hockey, and the exciting future for Apna Hockey. Lali can speak to that as well. So we'll just take another short break.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Do you know the area of your house decides the school your child will go to? Do you know how to check the quality of a home? Will banks give you a mortgage? For all the answers, sign up with the Home Buyer Awareness Program and meet a school area specialist, a home quality inspector, and a financial advisor. Don't wait. Sign up with the Home Buyer Awareness Program in the link below, or contact Raj Bopla at Remax Central today.
Welcome back. Thank you, everyone. All right. Okay. So we're going to change a little bit of gears over here. Let's talk about Dampy. Dampy, you were coaching hockey, I think, even before, you met Lali. Can you just share how you're coaching? Like, do you coach only in Calgary? How has COVID affected you guys? Like, are you coaching all around Canada?
Well, before I started Apna Hockey, doing programs related to that, I would book guys time, get a bunch of kids, 10 to 12 kids, our different age levels, and just run them through some drills, have some fun with it, teach them what I learned, helping them out with their skating, stick handling, passing, depends what age group, but it was a collection. And then, I wouldn't charge very much money. It wasn't about the money. It was just getting out there and being with the kids and stuff. And I didn't think it would translate to what we're doing now. And so slowly I was doing more and more training. And now that's progressed into one-on-one training that I do with kids from different age levels, from 10 to junior hockey players. So I do some trainings for 3 or 4 kids at one time, where the parents or just want 3 or 4 kids. And I also head coach my son's hockey team. I'm part of my daughter's. She's in a developmental program with the AMP program, so I'm on the ice with her whenever I get the opportunity. But I head coached my son's team this year, and it was, if it wasn't for COVID, I would have had a full year of coaching at that level under my belt, and just kind of like I always say to my son, I love the game of hockey. I'm very detailed, but you learn so much during the season through the different games, and you learn a lot about yourself. How do you be composed, and how do you relate to all the players, and and like every player is different. Every player has a different style. So with COVID, I continue to do when the restrictions said you can have 10 players on the ice, we did 10. If you can have 20 players on the ice with another coach, we did that. And if it was just just me and a kid from one, or members from a different household, that we did that. So for me, COVID was, you became more creative to get on the ice with the kids and stuff. So we also I have also organized ball hockey sessions with families. So I grew up in a small town, like I said, and a lot of the families that I associate with are still from those small town families. So we had my dad was out there, my wife was out there, my daughter, and then my best buddy and my sister-in-law and their kids. So I wanted to kind of show people that we can do this as families, not just the boys, not just the girls, not just the kids. The wives get involved. So we did a half an hour dry land training, which I've learned to do over the course of my hockey career. Dry land was a big part of what I did. And then we did 30 minutes, 25 minutes of skills, and then we progressed into games. And then we had an hour and a half session, and the games are great. We had the young kids play against the moms, and the older kids play against another group.
Adults as well.
Yeah, what's that?
Adults as well. So can adults come and right?
Yeah, this is ball hockey. So the floor was smaller, and it's tiled, and it's Calgary. It's called CCS, but it was the reason for doing this is just bringing the families together, doing something active. We always get together at barbecues. Like, well, I need to get in shape, or I need to do something active. This is a way for me to give it back to our communities and our families to do that. So, but it was great. I did that about 3 or 4 times, and hopefully we can knock COVID out of the park here and get back to doing more of that. So I will be doing. I'm also where we are both. Lali and I both joined Pama Golden Knights Academy, like working with them. I was supposed to go to Argentina at the end of April to help them with their inline, which is roller hockey camps. So they have me part of their instructor group. But I am going in, I believe it's just 20th or 21st of June to participate in a roller hockey tournament in Spain. So, and it's fun. It's funded by an East Indian gentleman out of the U.S. But the key, and then I think I'll find out in the next couple of days, start of the week coming up, if we're going to do some camps there as well. So, but that'd be great to play hockey, roller hockey, but also give back to, in that environment in Spain or Switzerland, depends on where we end up going. So, but so we're a voice in regards to racism and discrimination in sports. We're also there to assist and guide families. So,
and bring communities together. Like that. I just love what you both stand for. Like Apna Hockey, and both of you just are such genuine, energetic. How you have that pure intention for Apna Hockey, why you do what you do, and that really translates. I just want to say that. Yeah, I just
thank you.
We have a question here from one of our viewers, Jayanta Chaudhary. How can we promote our national religion, hockey, among new Canadians? And I know you've talked some about like how the different workshops that you're doing, and like the different ways that you can promote hockey. But what would you say for a new Canadian? How would they maybe get involved?
I guess I'll take this one. So I guess I can talk about kind of like the newer initiatives that we're doing since winning the award. We've had really good relationships with the NHL, and now we're reaching out to the Oilers and the Calgary Flames. So we want to develop a program, and I think this will answer the question perfectly. How do we get more new immigrants into the game of hockey, right? We're working on a program with Bauer and the Oilers right now. It's called a First Shift program, and we're going to see how it runs next. I believe it's in February. We'll see how the turnout is, and then eventually we want to develop that program. It basically brings in new kids from our community into the game of hockey. Bauer gives them a set of equipment, and they're in front of former Oilers, myself, Damps, Apna Hockey athletes to have that positive experience. Eventually, I want to develop a program called Apna Oilers Hockey Camp, Apna Flames Hockey Camp, Apna Canucks Hockey Camp, Apna Maple Leafs Hockey Camp. Anywhere there's South Asian hotbeds, we want to be able to connect with the local NHL team and give these kids from our community and ethnic minority communities a chance to play hockey. And their first experience for hockey will be the NHL team. And Rohini, the best part about these programs and how eventually when we develop them is that I always try to put myself in, someone else's shoes and be like, how could have, my experience in hockey would have changed, if I would have had something like this. So, I mean, like, if I had an Apna Oilers hockey camp to go to when I was, young back in 1996 when I started playing, imagine the conversation. So I go to a hockey camp. I'm going to see brown hockey instructors. It's with the local NHL team. And then after that camp, I'm going to go register in minor hockey. And then I'm going to tell my teammates about that experience. And then my dad and my parents will talk to other parents about that experience, right? So there's a commonality, right? So it's a way to ease in new immigrants, to the game of hockey, right? So, I mean, that's the goal. We want to kind of grow on a grassroots level. And it's exciting stuff because at the end of the day, we want to see more participation from our community. I want to see more Judge Arcaras, from our community playing at the NHL level. I want female players, playing for Team Canada, right? So we want to see that. So, I mean,
is this just in Canada? Or are you thinking like worldwide, like Dampy going to Spain and India connection?
So like, I mean, the work that we're going to be doing with Palma Golden Knights is more on an international scale. And Damps was actually he was named VP of a ball hockey program out in our home state of Punjab, India. And it's crazy to think that there's inline hockey in India, right? There's ball hockey. There's lots of interest, right? So eventually, we hope this collaboration with Palma eventually leads us back to our home country of India, right? And I was telling Damps, like, the females that we've been showcasing, there's a handful of them. But the male players that we've been showcasing, there's an entire roster I have compiled that could represent India at the next Olympics as their Indian national men's ice hockey team. And it's a competitive team. I've gone consulting from NHL coaches, and they've taken a look at the roster, and they're like, there's no reason why why that team can't represent India and play competitively, against teams like Russia, Canada. So how exciting would that be? And I always tell Damps and everybody, our initiative with Apna Hockey is to grow the game of hockey, right? We want to grow the game in our community, in different ethnic minorities. What a better way to grow the game than having the Indian national men's ice hockey team and having 1.3 billion people cheering them on. Right? So, I mean, that's my personal goal is to see that team eventually, represent India. We're working hard, right? So, I mean, we're working hard to get this program funded, but we want to get all the athletes together and, start a camp, get media attention and maybe do some exhibition games, right? So we're planning that for next summer. Just with COVID and everything, it's definitely just hindered, kind of the capabilities of what we wanted to accomplish. But I mean, by next year, we want to get these athletes together. We want to spur that interest, and who knows, right? We after winning the award, I think me and Damps both can attest to this. We just started dreaming even larger, right? So we dream bigger. Our goals got larger, right? So,
and I think that's for everyone too.
Stuff. Yeah.
No, I was gonna say like. Apna Hockey has obviously affected a lot of people's lives for the better. And, Dampy and Lali, you both are just putting your heart and soul into it, in whatever way you can. Like whether Dampy, you're mentioning, okay, like talking to even parents and coaching and talking to the kids and coaching them and doing workshops. So, we can talk so much about you guys. I mean, it's so interesting. Dampy, I hate to put you on the spot here, but do we have Save Around? Your son, is just maybe wrapping up the show with.
Sure. I can let me. He's upstairs watching the Vegas and Colorado game, so he's a Vegas fan. I don't know what kind of mood he's going to be in, but he knows that I was going to eventually get him to have a conversation here, and obviously he knows Lali very well. Give me about 2 minutes, and I'll grab him right now. So
Yeah, sure. Okay, thanks, Dampy. Thanks. Yeah, and just about the future. So, Lali, thank you so much for sharing what the exciting plans that you have right now. So
yeah, it's really exciting stuff. I mean, I'm pumped, right? I mean, like working with the Oilers, working with the Flames, like we'll see how the camps here in Alberta go, and then it's just basically transposing that program to different cities, right? Like, I mean, I want to be able to, provide kids in our community a positive experience with hockey. And I think, these grassroots level programs would be the best way to do it, and especially with the local NHL team. Because I think at the end of the day, the biggest, I think hockey, like the NHL, the teams, I mean, the reason why I got into hockey, because I was a hockey fan, right? So, no, it's exciting stuff, right? At the end of the day, we want kids from our community to have positive experiences. And the NHL is working with us. We have, Bauer Hockey on board. There's a lot of stuff. It's very multifaceted. I guess that's the best way to describe us.
Yes.
That's why, like, whenever we say, like, what is Apna Hockey? Yeah, it's a hockey camp. Yeah, it's this, but it's more of a network, right? We do a lot of different things, right? We stand up for racism and, discrimination. But yeah, I think Seva's here.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lali. Oh,
Yeah.
we have Seva. Hi. I'm just going to quickly say, so everyone, here is Seva. Wow.
Did you want him to be on earphones?
Sure. Actually, now it's great. We can hear you. We only have a few minutes left, but Seva, thank you so much for joining. How was watching the game? We stole you from the game.
Yeah. No, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, okay. So Seva, why do you want to play hockey? Why do you love hockey?
Just like because my dad played hockey and I love the game.
Yes. Okay, great. So when did you start playing hockey?
When I was 5 years old.
When you were 5. All right. What position do you play?
Before I played forward, but this year I played deep. Yeah.
Okay. So you have Dampy Brar as your coach, mainly as your father. How is that? Like,
feels good. He's awesome. He's my coach and my dad. And the best thing.
So, other than what obviously you learn how to play hockey, you guys are doing so many drills and you know how to play the game of hockey, but what other life skills have you learned from Apna Hockey and, communicating with your father and Lali and all the wonderful people that you meet through this game?
Like how to be a great leader, to be a great person, to respect others. Those are some.
Oh, that's great.
That's it. There's a few more details you can cover. Right? So, yeah, like Sam was one of our assistant captains this year, and I didn't make him an assistant captain because he's my son and you favor him. But the intangibles that he showed of being that leader, he earned it. So it was great to see him in that leadership position and focus level. And so yeah, no, we always talk about hockey is one thing, but what do you learn from hockey? And that's the dialogue that I want to really, really bring up because the game is bigger than itself. So,
yes, thank you for saying that, Dampy, and Seva, thank you so much for sharing your experience. Seva, there's gonna be parents watching this show, also kids your age. My age, everyone. What message do you want to tell them? Like, if they love hockey, what would you want to tell them?
If you play hockey, then just keep going. It's a fun sport. You learn a lot from it, not just hockey, but like leadership skills, like self-confidence. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. Self-confidence. You can learn a lot from the game and teamwork.
And I bet you're very disciplined too. I bet you have to wake up in the morning and you can't just like sleep in on a Saturday or.
No, I have my days scheduled. Like I'm pretty
OCD or whatever.
Because I got it from him.
Regimented. So yeah, now he's going to be trying out for more competitive teams coming up. So
Yeah.
he read Kobe Bryant's book Mamba Mentality. From a good friend of mine, and he's already in that mindset that of working out, running, and doing plyometric drills or jumping drills during the summertime. And I'm not that old yet, and I'll be doing those drills with him, and I'll send some of his teammates and friends to at the same level. But it's good having a little friend now. He seemed like just a year ago he was only like 3 or 4, and now he's 13, and now I can hang out and do hockey skills and everything with him, and not just play hockey outside. It's not just hockey. We play basketball. We're going to be playing tennis and other sports, and that's another thing that I've told him is that I just don't want you to focus just on hockey. There's other sports. All the other sports that he plays will feed into hockey. Hockey will feed into the other sports, and he's very athletic. He enjoys other sports, and that's what with kids. We just don't want them to be one-track minded. And Lali and I have had numerous conversations with different parents, and just don't leave them just hockey. Like, be versatile, be flexible. They learn so much, right? These kids, and I had that experience. I lived in small town Sparrow, so I played every sport. So,
no, that's great. That's great. That's great what both of you have done, and just community coming together. Seva, we wish you all the very best with your hockey career and also your studies. Yes, and also anything that you just fall in love with. There's so many things to try out in the world. So thank you again for coming in on such short notice.
He was really busy.
Hey, you gotta watch the game. You gotta keep tuned. But you guys, this has been so good. We are almost coming to the end of our show. I just quickly wanted to say that, like Dampy, Lali, and Seva, thank you so much. You guys have talked about so many important things, not just your love about hockey, but how you both have made this into such a collaborative movement, I guess. Just joining people together. Just to wrap it up, is there any last message you want to say to our viewers here?
Yeah, if you're interested in contacting Apna Hockey, you can find us on Instagram at Apna Hockey. We're on Twitter. For our Facebook, we're on Apna Hockey School, and we'll have our website up and running, a new one called apnasportsfoundation.com, and that will be ready for summer 2021.
Ooh, that is great. Yeah, let us know. Let the Indian Society of Calgary know. We'll definitely share that. Thank you, Lali and Dampy.
Well, I just wanted to, wish you the best in your podcast here on, and I know you're connecting with the community. So me and Lali and Seva want to wish you the best on what you're doing as well. So, and lastly, any questions about hockey? It could be, there's no dumb questions, like we all say. A lot of parents have contacted me in Calgary because they know where I'm from, Calgary, and Lali up in Edmonton. And any questions you have regarding hockey, doesn't have to be racism. It could be about equipment, skates, sticks, helmets, registration, power skating, whatever. And there's times where Seva's in the car and Sachi's in the car with me, my kids, and one parent called, and they're like, and then they tell their mom, Dad's always on the phone. I'm like, well, when parents need help, we definitely take the time to thoroughly answer them. So we're here, like Lali said, Instagrams, Facebooks, our numbers are there. So text us if you need any help. We're there to help, and I need my kids Seva Singh and Sachi Kaur, Sachidi Seva. So if we can do that, if we can all do that across the world, it would be a better place. But that's what we're going to do with Apna Hockey, and we'll continue to do so.
Thank you, both of you. So viewers, thank you so much for watching. You have, you've seen Dampy and Lali and Seva. They're all super genuine, down to earth, approachable people. So definitely, contact them and continue the love and share for hockey and just life skills overall. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Bye.
Bye.